Welcome back. Chapter 5. Sheriff Sheriff Wayne Baker looked like a lawman, not a cop in a patrolman's uniform, not a detective with a suit and tie, an honest-to-God lawman, like someone out of the old Western with a star pin front and center on his chest and his narrow, weather-beaten, no-bullshit face. He always came across as laconic, body relaxed, and voice a lazy drawl, leaning against the counter at the grocery store back in the day, shooting the shit with my dad and Chet. But I knew it would be a mistake to underestimate him. I always suspected he could have his gun drawn and shot fired before you even realized he moved. Seeing him again after all this time, it was a bit of a shock to find him eating scrambled eggs out of a styrofoam cup with his legs crossed at the ankle and propped on the desk in front of him. "Hey, Sheriff," I said, pushing through the low swinging gate that separated the lobby from the area where he was seated. As far as I could tell, we were the only people at the police station, the front counter unmanned and the other desks empty, even though it was already late morning. Given the recent murders, most of the deputies were probably out asking questions and reassuring anxious residents. He forked in another mouthful of eggs before setting the cup aside, then swung his legs slowly off the desk. "Heard you were back in town. Been years. I bet your parents are glad to see you home after such a long time." My stomach clenched, but it was a gentle enough rebuke. Considering. "They are," I said, although whether it was true, I had no real idea. "What can I do for you?" Baker asked, and I didn't think I was imagining a slight hesitation in his voice. He was probably worried I was going to start vomiting conspiracy theories all over the place. "Nothing, actually," I said. "I wanted to talk to Garrett. He's around?" Baker gave me a long look and pointed toward the rear of the station. "Out back." I nodded, picked my way around the desk. "Word is, you've got a whole life for yourself up in Chicago," he said as I reached the back door. A whole life might be pushing it, but I understood what he was getting at. I paused and looked back at him, confident he had more to say. "Be ashamed to see you get all turned around again, Greer. It took a toll last time, on everyone. Sometimes it's best to let things lie." I wonder if he was remembering the morning he come to work and found me sitting on the sidewalk outside the door, waiting for him, already asking questions and spouting theories before he even gotten the key in the lock. I peppered Baker with questions whether I'd seen him at the funeral, at the store, outside the police station when he was getting out of his patrol car. At first, he'd been patient, but as the days wore on, his patience gave way to aggravation and then to pity. That final confrontation burned into my mind like it had happened only yesterday. He let me into the station with a sign and then called my parents. Hadn't even been able to look me in the eye as he led me out to my mother's car idling at the curb. Later that same afternoon, I was in Wichita, sitting across from the therapist who spoke in soothing tones that made me want to scream. No one believed me. No one heard what I was saying. My insistence that everyone was missing an essential piece of the puzzle ascribed to my grief. I never mentioned the murders to Baker again. "Good talk," I said, shoving the door open with my shoulder. I found Garrett outside, leaning against the cinder block wall with one leg cocked. He looked like someone on a smoke break, but he was clutching a tin of Altoids instead of a cigarette. "Hey there," he said, shielding his eyes with one hand against the glare of the sun. "What brings you here?" In the light of the day, he seemed less full of bravado, even decked out in his uniform, than he had last night in the bar. "I didn't get a chance at Doe, but I wanted to ask you about the murderers, the recent ones like Eliza and Travis." Garrett held out the mints as I took up a position next to him, leaned against the wall. These things clear out your sinuses like a blowtorch, but I got myself addicted to them when I was quitting smoking last year. No thanks, I said. He pocketed the tin and leaned his head back. Don't know how much I can tell you that you probably don't already know. Addie and Dylan were both seniors at Ludlow High, like your sister and Travis. He was on the baseball team. She was involved in theater. Been dating about a year. Each killed with a single shot to the head. What kind of gun? A .44 Magnum. Same as Eliza and Travis. Not the same gun, though, obviously. He said the gun that killed Eliza and Travis had been recovered from Royce Matthews' house, hidden under his mattress and covered with his fingerprints. Purchased from a private dealer a week before the murders. Roy hadn't been old enough to buy a six-pack of beer, but getting his hands on a gun hadn't been a problem. And copycat is what you're thinking? I asked. Garrett shrugged. I suppose it could be a complete coincidence, but seems unlikely. Same type of gun, same time of the year, same MO. Sneaking up on a couple of teenagers dry humping in a car at the town park, like shooting fish in a barrel. He glanced at me. Sorry. Don't worry about it. Over the years, I heard 100 worse things. That my sister been killed with her boobs hanging out, that Travis had died mid-orgasm. That any hunter worth a shit should have been able to take them both out with a single shot. That Eliza was a slut who deserved it. Each one an arrow I'd taken as a direct hit until, eventually, the barbs barely registered. By now, when it came to how Eliza had died, I had skin so thick it felt impenetrable. At this point, we're figuring it was someone passing through, Garrett said. Some crazy who came to town wanting to recreate what happened with your sister and Travis, and then kept right on moving. His words sounded rote, like something he memorized in a bathroom mirror, and I raised my eyebrows at him, but he kept his gaze fixed straight ahead. Have you found any evidence of that? I asked. Like online? Maybe someone making threats beforehand? Not yet, Garrett admitted, but we're still looking. Was there anything different this time? Anything that stood out? Garrett shook his head. I can't give you any more details, Greer. Some things aren't for just anybody to know. I'm not just anybody, I pointed out. His casual dismissal sliced through the tender parts of me, making it hard to catch my breath. Just anybody. As if Eliza hadn't died the same way. As if I hadn't stood in the funeral parlor, gazed down at her misshapen head, the shattered pieces of her skull the mortician had tried in vain to reconfigure into someone resembling my sister. You know what I mean, Garrett pushed off the wall. Better get back inside before Baker has a stroke. He paused at the door. It's really good to see you again. We had fun at the prom, didn't we? Of all the adjectives I might have used to describe that night, drunken, sweaty, painful, humiliating, stupid, fun, wasn't even on my list. Yeah, sure, I said, voice flat. Maybe we could try it again sometimes. What about the third grade teacher you're dating? He grinned. What about her? I blew out a groan. You're not nearly as charming as you think you are, Garrett. That only made him grin wider. As I recall, you were pretty charmed back in high school. Yeah, well, I was young and dumb. He laughed, threw me an exaggerated wink, just how I like him. Ooh, ouch. I smiled despite myself shaking my head. What had Eliza always said about Garrett? You can't keep that guy down. He's 20 pounds of confidence in a 10-pound bag. Are you going to the vigil? How do you pronounce it? Vigil? Vigil, y'all. I know it, but I can't pronounce it right now. Tonight, Hold on. Okay, it's visual. Are you going to the visual tonight? Yeah, he said, grin fading. I'll be there. You? I nodded, stayed leaning against the wall after Garrett went back into the station. Tonight would be the first real test. Ludlow out in force and eager to judge. I could already hear the words, innocuous on the surface, but full of teeth down below. We thought you'd never come back. Look at you. It's been so long. We figured you've forgotten all about us. A big part of me wanted to skip the visual, stay home and hide. But I owed it to Addie and Dylan to be there to bear witness. Because I had been braver, they might still be alive. What she mean she been braver? I was sprawled across my bed trying to decide if I had the energy for another stilt dinner with my parents when my mom knocked on my door jamb. You awake? Yeah, I said, propping myself up on my elbows. What's up? Nothing really. She hesitated in the doorway. I wanted to talk to you. I sat all the way up, swinging my legs off the side of the bed. Okay? My voice was reluctant, but inside, I couldn't stifle the stupid, never gonna learn part of me that hoped after all these years, we were finally gonna have a real conversation again. That for even a few minutes, she might resemble the mom who used to scratch my back when I couldn't sleep, who let me try to teach her every new dance craze and never got mad when I laughed at her attempts, who always marked even the most minor of occasions with cupcakes or a card, who sometimes talked to me so much I prayed she'd leave me alone, that maybe, finally, I'd be able to open my mouth and tell her all the things I didn't know how to say. She gave her head a small shake, wrung her hands together. Does chicken and rice casserole sound all right for dinner? I looked away from her. Outside, an airplane cut across the sky, its fluffy white contrail the only mark on the otherwise crystalline blue canvas. Yeah, that's fine. I flopped back onto my bed, covered my face with both hands. Whatever you want. That's the end of chapter 5. Wait a minute. Did the mama do it? Because what was she getting ready to say? She said, oh, okay, I know what they're doing. So far it's putting doubt in my head. It's putting doubt in my head like, did the mama do it? Did the daddy do it? Or did a stranger do it? Because you never know. And when she said that she wished she was braver, what she meant by that? Do she know something? I don't know, but those are my questions so far. I'm going to see y'all in chapter 6. Bye for now.